Hello everyone and welcome back to World of Warcraft Legion Beta. I am Severine, taking a look at the final mage specialization, Fire. Fire is absolutely incredible. I love it. I love it as much as I love Demo Warlock. I'm most likely either going to main a Fire Mage or a Demo Warlock for Legion. Still can't decide between the two, but I really enjoy what they've done to Fire Mages here. They play a lot like Destro Warlocks used to play. Interesting. Considering Blizzard gave 2 Warlock toys to Frost, maybe they just want you mages to secretly be Warlocks. Who knows? Or Warlocks to be mages. I don't know. Either way, uh, moving right into talents, we have Pyromaniac is a passive casting Pyroblast or Flame Strike with a Hot Streak. Has an 8% chance to instantly reactivate the Hot Streak. Seems like a pretty straightforward talent there. You have a chance to double cast Flame Strike or Pyroblast. Conflagration is a passive. Fireball also applies conflagration to the target, dealing an additional fire damage over 8 seconds. Enemies affected by conflagrate or ignite have a 10% chance to flare up and deal damage to other nearby enemies. So this feels kind of like an AoE talent. There's some passive additional damage for single targets, but I feel like the potential for AoE or even cleave is much greater here. And finally, we have Firestarter. It's another passive. Your Fireball spell always deals a critical strike when the target is above 90% health. So, some opening burst on bosses. If you can get the first hit on some ads, you're basically guaranteed a Pyroblast. So, that could be something handy. I'm not sure what use you'd see it with otherwise, but I don't have a lot of experience playing Fire Mage, so better people than me could tell you how that might interact. The level 30 talent row is the same as it is for all other mages, as is the level 45 row. Just real quick, Cold Snap gives Ice Block 2 charges, and you heal. Cauterize does what it always has. Shimmer, Blink on steroids. Mirror Image and Incanter's Flow both behave the same way they do on live. Rune of Power is a little different. It only lasts for 10 seconds, but it increases the damage you do by 50% while standing in it. Very strong buff, I feel. Not sure if you'll see that nerfed or maybe the cooldown increased. Either way. The level 60 row is where things get different again. We have Blast Wave. On a 25-second cooldown, instant cast causes an explosion around the targeted enemy or ally, and it deals fire damage to all enemies within 8 yards and reduces their movement speed by 70% for 4 seconds. Your primary target will take 100% increased damage. It's kind of interesting that you can cast this on allies. So, I don't know if you got like a tank or something taking a whole mob of ads, cast it on them and set that all on fire. I don't know. Flame On instantly grants 2 charges of Inferno Blast. It's on a 30-second cooldown. This is the same kind of burst talent the other 2 specs have. Grants you 2 charges of whatever their kind of, spender is, so that you can have a quick moment of burst. And we have Controlled Burn. When you gain Heating Up, you have a 10% chance to instantly activate Hot Streak. I've chosen this just because Pyroblasts are fun. They remind me of Chaos Bolts back in the day, which wasn't that long ago. Either way, level 75 row is the same as it is for all mage specs. Ice Flows, you can cast while moving, has 3 charges. Probably going to be the main talent you use in PvE, maybe Ring of Frost, which does what it does on live, and Ice Ward is Frost Nova has 2 charges. The level 90 row, Living Bomb, has been kind of reworked a little bit. It's on an 11.4 second cooldown. I believe that's affected by haste. Your primary target becomes a living bomb, and when they blow up, they affect everybody within 10 yards, and those guys become a living bomb, but the living bomb cannot spread any further than that. It will only spread once. So, I feel like this is kind of a nerf to Fire's absolutely insane AoE capabilities, that and the change to combustion, but it comes with Fire being much stronger at single target and cleave, so maybe that means Fire won't be nerfed into oblivion over the course of the expansion like it always is. That's my hope. Don't let me down, Blizzard, like you have so often before. Eh. Moving on. Unstable Magic does what it does for the other two specs. Your main spell has a 30% chance to explode on impact and deals additional damage to the target and all other enemies within 8 yards. Straightforward. Flame Patch is kind of the AoE talent. When you use Flame Strike, it will leave a patch of flames which burns enemies within it for 35,000 damage over 8 seconds. It's kind of, I don't know. I feel like Living Bomb is probably the better choice here, so I'm not sure what they're going for here, but I've never really been a fan of Flame Strike. I've always used other abilities, so who knows? Maybe this will see some use. And the level 100 talents here, we have Kindling, is a passive that makes Fireball, Pyroblast, and Infernal Blast crits reduce the remaining cooldown on combustion by a second. That's could be pretty nice. Combustion is kind of just this passive crit cooldown now. It's not anywhere near what it was on live, but I still think it's kind of cool. We have Cinderstorm, throws a spread of 6 cinders that travel in an arc, deals damage to everything it hits, and damage is increased by 30% if your target is already affected by Ignite. So if you've been hitting something and then you launch this at them, it'll do increased damage. It has a 9-second cooldown, again affected by haste, so not really sure what role this will play in fights, but time will tell, I suppose. And finally we have Meteor, which is kind of the big AoE spell. You get a little AoE reticle that you can aim and you can cast it wherever. It's on a 45-second cooldown, and it deals some pretty substantial damage split evenly between all targets, and it burns the ground, dealing additional fire damage over 8 seconds to everything standing within it. So again, pretty strong AoE ability here. I've got it selected because meteors are cool. And if we look at the artifact here, the main ability is Phoenix's Flames. Hurls a phoenix that causes fire damage to a target and then splashes additional damage to other nearby enemies. So it's kind of a, I don't want to say a nuke, but it's a pretty strong spell, and it's got some passive cleave attached to it, so could be pretty strong. If you were wondering here, these 3 little fire orbs I've got around me are my Phoenix Flame charges. It has 3 charges, and they recharge every 30 seconds, so that's what that is. Maybe if you guys ask and pester Blizzard for 8 years, you can get a green fire version so you can look like Hellfoss. That's how long it took Warlocks to get green fire, so good luck. Oops, not talents. We also have Blast Furnace, not the boss. It's now a talent. Make sure Inferno Blast deal additional fire damage over 9 seconds. So it's basically just a dot essentially. We have Pyretic Incantation. Each consecutive critical strike you deal increases crit damage by 5%. So I imagine this will really ramp up as we get later into the expansion and we start piling on the crit. And finally, you have Phoenix Reborn. Targets affected by your Ignite have a chance to erupt in flame. Takes additional fire damage and reduces the remaining cooldown on Phoenix's flames by 5 seconds. Again, it's another passive ability, gives you some extra damage and shortens the cooldown on Phoenix Flames. So, let's see what the spec looks like. Visually, I think this spec looks absolutely amazing. I've heard some mixed opinions on how it does damage-wise, but I think it feels fine. So, here we go. We'll get some fireballs rolling. There's some heating up, pyroblast, and that's that. Phoenix Flames, we'll launch that. That's what that looks like. And combustion, as you can see here, it's a 10-second buff, makes your crit chance increase by 100%, and it grants you mastery equal to your critical strike chance. So that's how that is functioning now. I'll pop that, and it's basically free pyroblast at this point. And that, to me, is the essence of fire here. You've got your pyroblast rolling. Combustion isn't as fun as it is on live, but I still enjoy it for what it is. I hope you've enjoyed this look at mages, and I'll see you all tomorrow when I'll be taking a look at demon hunters.